below -8, variable clouds. I'm up in Algonquin Highlands where I live, and I thought I'd show you a few things about snowshoes, at least the things that I've learned. We've only got about 1.5 feet of snow. We just got a little dusting last night, but we've only got about 1.5 feet on the ground. On unpacked trails, 1.5 feet of snow is enough to impede your travel. You'll burn a lot of energy just walking with regular shoes through this kind of snow. So snowshoes are invaluable. Now there's different types of snowshoes. Modern day snowshoes are the aluminum style and composite styles. They're basically the same thing. They're small, they're compact, they're made of really resilient materials unlike wood. The issue with them is they're no good for deep snow. There's several types that you can buy that are oversized and they're okay. But the problem with those kind of shoes in deep snow is they are more of a hindrance than a help. You'll find that with when you get into the deep snow, the unpacked snow, the stuff that's in the deep woods, that's when you're going to need a traditional style shoe. Alright, and that's what these are. These are traditional style shoes. So the traditional style shoe is made of wood. Oh, you can get them in plastic and composite and aluminum, but it's made of wood. You have what's known as your webbing, right? Your webbing here. This webbing is normally made of like a type of, it's rawhide basically, gut it's called. It's untanned leather. And there's different types of gut that you can get. Okay, so there's this particular shoe here. It has the cheaper style gut. This one over here, this one here, you can tell by the color difference in the gut on it. That's real gut. That stuff is strong as crazy, and it doesn't wear the same as this. That lasts a lot longer. The different styles of shoes, this is important. The different styles of shoes are, you have your Algonquin style shoe, which again is this style here. The Algonquin shoe has a kick. The idea of the Algonquin shoe is when you're walking and you're putting your foot down into the snow, this kick drags in the snow. So it just drags in the snow and it keeps your foot from doing this, from moving back and forth, which loosens up your bindings. So the kick is super cool when you're going through deep snow, and particularly on like ponds, open areas. Why? Because when you're in the forest and you have a kick like this, what happens is that it gets hung up on stuff, especially if you want to do a turn. Okay, if you want to do a turn, you're going to get hung up because you have to turn and you have all that kick to get in the way. It'll catch on brush and stuff. I like these kind of shoes. They're not my favorite. They're great for open ponds and things. I normally carry two when I go hiking. I carry the Algonquin style and I carry the next style, which I'll show you. Both this model here, which is made by Faber, it's an old company. Great snowshoe. Wow, this one's well built. This will last forever. It's got reinforced toe, right? It's got the real gut to it, and it's got the it's a different kind of wood. I don't even know what kind of wood this is. I think it's maple, but regardless, the point is it's a very strong shoe. Let's get on to the other types now. So the other type of shoe is this one here. Well, actually the one I'm leaning against, I'll show you first. This one here is called a bear paw shoe. Alright, so the bear paw is, as you can see, it's got like a teardrop shape to it, but it's got no kick. This is the heel, it's got no kick. Beautiful for deep snow. These things are amazing for deep snow. The only issue I have with the bear paw style shoe, there's no raised front. Okay, so when you walk with it, if you're not walking proper, you're going to do a header. You're gonna just heard an owl. Sorry. you're going to ditch into the snow and you'll trip. So what you have to do is you have to basically go up, down, up, down. Now that's exaggerated, but you just need to push down your toe as you're walking, right? Not a problem, you get used to it really quick. This is called the bear paw shoe. This one here is 14 by 30. That means it's 14 inches wide at its widest point, and it's 30 inches long here, okay? So it's 30 inches by 14. This will support my weight. My weight fully clothed is about 180 pounds. You need to size your shoes to the weight fully clothed, okay? Because, oh yeah, they make great backrests, by the way. Anyway, you need to size your shoes to your weight. Don't do anything but that, because if you get too small of a shoe, you're going to sink in. Generally speaking, with any snowshoe, you're looking at about, depending on the type of snow conditions, you're going to sink in about 4 to 6 inches. If it's light and fluffy, you're going to sink in deeper, but for the most part, you're going to sink about 4 to 6. There's different kinds of snow, right? But so you get your granular, you get your light and fluffy, you get your icy. My favorite shoe is this one here. This is my favorite. As you can see, I wore that out here, right? This is the one that I wear all the time. This is a modified bear paw. Okay, so what they've done is they have, you can see it's got a slight upturned nose. Perfect. You're not going to trip on this guy. Secondly, it's got a longer shape to it, and it's a lot narrower. Now this one here is 10 by 36, so it's 10 inches wide here, but it's 36 inches long. This again will support my weight no problem. So this shoe here is my favorite. Again, it's called the modified bear paw. One thing about bindings, just quickly, with your bindings, this type of binding, do not buy this binding. Right? This binding has a foot pad on it. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got a foot pad here. It's no good. This binding will fill up with ice right here as you're walking. The friction of your foot will create an ice dam here, and it'll drive you nuts. Then you got to chip it out with your knife or whatever it might be. You got to get that out of there. No good, right? I don't like these bindings. If I do use these bindings, I cut the sole out. I cut this base part out. You can see it here. I cut that right out and I retie it. Don't like them. Don't like them at all. The nylon binding. This nylon binding is pretty cool. So this nylon binding's pretty neat. It's got a buckle. It'll fit around any boot, okay? And it's adjustable, totally adjustable. Not too bad. I like traditional stuff, but you know, it's all right. This is my favorite binding here, which is it's a suede binding. There's no sole piece to it. You see? So as you're walking, right here, you can see where the snow's built up here, right? So as you're walking, the snow can actually leave the bottom of your foot. It'll just drop out through the webbing, which is perfect, so you don't get that ice dam underneath. The other type of binding is the one I'm leaning against, is a rubber type of binding. There's hundreds of different bindings, but this rubber type binding is really designed for the plastic style snowshoes. You know, the recreational shoes. When I say recreational, the ones that you're going to, if you're leading a group of kids like I do and stuff like that, then you'll use this kind of binding. It fits anybody's foot. I mean anybody's. And they're pretty resilient. They're not going to tear apart. You don't have to worry about breaking the binding, right? You just simply slip it on. You pull back, slip it on. It's done, right? So that binding is, again, that binding's pretty, it's all right. Not too bad. But this is my favorite right here. Now, having talked about that, let's talk about shoes. With the traditional style snowshoes with the gut or the webbing, if this is a nylon webbing or a nylon gut, no problem. You can wear whatever boot you want, doesn't matter. But with this kind of webbing, it's rawhide. Basically, it's leather, right? If you have a heel on your shoe, you're going to wear it out. You will burn through that shoe depending on how much you use it. You'll burn through it and you'll make a pocket. You don't want that. So the type of shoe you want to wear is something like this here. So this shoe here, it has gum rubber sole. Very little heel. There's almost no heel. It's a moccasin. It's basically a moccasin. These boots were made by Cherokee, and they're about, I think these boots are 30 years old. They're still going. Well, yeah, maybe. Secondly, when you take the snowshoes off and you're walking through the snow, there's no weight to them. So you can move through the snow real easy. Now, I don't always wear the snowshoes. I'll wear them when I'm in deep snow, but if I'm following a deer trail or a wolf trail, I take the snowshoes off. So again, this kind of traditional style shoe, there's no cleat on the bottom. They're no good for trails, okay? They're no good for trails. Don't even bother wearing them. Take them off and just walk with your regular shoes on. Don't wear them. It's not worth it, because you're just wasting your time. But that's where the modern shoes come in. They have nice cleats underneath. Perfect for walking on trails. They give you a little more purchase on the snow if the trail's a little bit soft, and you can dig in real nice, especially if you're going up hills and things like that. So that's where the modern shoe comes in. I prefer to stay off trail, so these are my kind of go-to. So that's it for snowshoes. As far as the type of snow that you're going to use them in, if it's wet snow, it'll make the webbing sag. Okay. The modern shoes, again, because the webbing's made of nylon or rubber, it won't sag. So they both have their advantages, but for here in Algonquin Highlands, these are my go-to shoes.